Yes, guys, we're back. Welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. It's Monday. It's time to review game week 2. Dean, how are you, mate? Long time no see. It feels like forever.
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm good. I hope you had a good weekend. I know you had a little jaunt to Germany, so I'm sure that was very fun. I'm good, mate. Turns out I'm very good at FPL this season, so I'm happy. My rank is 350,000 at the moment, mate. So,
That's obscene, mate. I would go so far as to say there's not another FPL content creator that hasn't used a chip that is at your rank.
that is hilarious if that's true. Because
Let us
it's
know in the
funny.
chat. The chat will know if there's a content creator with a better rank than 350 that hasn't used a chip. Let us know.
Yeah, that is quite amusing. But I'm really enjoying just picking
Being
my
good.
team off what I see. Just literally I really need to, it's just
You've
so
always
much
done
more
that.
fun. It's much more satisfying.
Have you not
Like
always done that? I feel like you're a
no,
bit of
because
a.
lastly I get swayed by what you and Big Man do. Like I do, and then I start to go all over the place. Um yeah, so I
I
need
think
to
you're the
stick to that
same
this week.
good eye test, early adopter, good manager. I think you always have been. I just think this game is hugely luck related, and you're just on a good phase, and you've been on the wrong
Oh,
Emerson.
100%. Like this and there's things that are going to change, and I'll refuse to buy into some stats that you and Big Man will just some trend, and I'll be like, I'm not going for someone because they have a good XG, and then obviously it will pay off. But even like things I'm seeing over the weekend, I'm hoping people start to jump off Isak, for example. And I'm wondering if they will, because on face value, you're thinking, well, he's not returning.
2 blanks.
I could go somewhere else here. I could go for Havertz. I could, look for other options.
Yeah.
I actually rewatched the first half of Bournemouth Newcastle while I was doing some work this morning. I feel like he was really unlucky.
Really, I've not
There was
watched any of that. I know he had a fair few shots. I haven't
it's not
seen that
even
game.
that. It's like a couple of times. Like there were at least 2 examples of times when Newcastle midfielder should have just slid him in,
Right.
and he's ready to go. He's onside, and the ball hasn't gone, and he's like, "Why is that ball not gone?" And he could have had at least one assist with a perfect cross he made about 15, 20 minutes in. So somebody like Isak, Brian's saying I think 300,000 have jumped off Isak, and I think it'll be more than that. I think that this week there might be a mass exodus of
Yeah.
Isak, and my personal feeling is that that's going to be a mistake. You look at Newcastle and the games that they've got coming up as an overall figure. They got Tottenham at home at the weekend, which is a fine fixture. Wolves away, Fulham away. Okay, Man City home. Then Everton away. And I just think Isak is I'm just going to stick with it. Now, someone like Calvert-Lewin, who I've obviously got in as a weird one, and I initially said he gets 3 weeks, and next week will obviously be his last one. Everton have got as good a fixture as they could hope for, I guess. Bournemouth at home, I don't really have much hope in them doing anything in it. But if Calvert-Lewin doesn't score in that game, then he's gone for me. But Isak, yeah, I think I'm going to stick with it because there's no way that Isak has a season like this where he's not
He's
scoring
dropping in
goals.
price. He'll be 100% lower. Nearly
Yeah.
500,000 managers. That's like one in 20 teams
20,
have
yeah.
already sold him, and that's just going. And that we're in day 1. We're day 2, effectively. Like it's
Yeah.
he's
I
going to be
thought that
mass
would
sold.
happen. I thought that would happen. And I just
Most sold player so far this game week. Even more sellers than Solanke, who's flagged.
on an eye test, mate. I think they're making a mistake. I think you look at I understand Newcastle haven't been had much conviction about them. I get it, but there aren't many really good strikers in this league, and Isak is one of the only good ones. It is not going to continue. I just refuse to believe it. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with him. There's other little ones where I'm like Minte at Brighton. I'm like, he's a good player, and I still am glad I picked him from the start of the season. But I don't think I can stick with him. I don't think I can stick with him. I think Brighton have got too many forward options. He's not quite good enough to hold that spot at 5.5. Yeah, we'll get to it when we do our teams if we're going to go through them. But I think for me, I think Minte will probably go from my team. I think he'll be my sell this week.
Interesting. We'll talk about our teams coming up, guys. We're also going to show you Big Man Backers team. If you're watching, do hit that like button, do subscribe. Good to see some of my channel members like John Boltman in the chat. John from South Africa is, I think, thinking about a wild card. He's holding Isak. No one else to pick, he says. I did see some comments in the chat. It does look like, Dean, no one's anywhere near you in terms of content creators and rank. Genuinely, we'd be looking, we're going to, if you continue this form, even at the current state, Dean Jones's face on our thumbnails with a big 300k and a globe next to it guarantees probably double the views. That's how fickle this community is. Honestly, mate, if you have a worldy season, Chasing Green Arrows, we were on 20k subs by the end of the season. It's that simple, which is ridiculous because our content is no better or worse if you have a good season or if I have a good season. But that's just the way it rolls. How do you feel about that pressure? Oh, you're muted. Ah, he's still muted.
That's weird. I was muted. I don't know why that was. I don't know why that happened. Let me just check. Am I on the right mic still? Does it still sound all right?
Yeah, sound good.
Oh, that's strange. Do you notice today I've done something I never do?
Have you tweeted your score or something?
No,
you always do that.
No, I didn't do that. I haven't got headphones on. I've got AirPods in.
Ah,
I never do that.
Yeah, but have I not seen you with AirPods on other bits? Like, I don't know.
I just don't trust it. So basically, in early days of having AirPods, I had such bad luck with them disconnecting.
Mate, you and everyone else that uses AirPods,
and
they're
it was
useless.
just throwing me every single week, every single time. So I've just like completely avoided them. And I had them on. So I was like, I don't want to put headphones. I was like, these are fully charged. I'll disconnect my phone. There's absolutely no reason these should go wrong. But in about 10 minutes' time, when you see me scrambling around in this drawer beneath me for my big headphones, that's why. That's why I don't normally have them in here.
Well, you look very Californian, mate. So well played.
I know. I normally have my hat on, mate. My my iced coffee.
Your massive litre of coffee.
Litre of coffee, yeah, from 7-Eleven. Someone just asked if I triple captained Haaland. I didn't. We were talking about this on Friday when you weren't here, mate. I was on the fence. I was on the fence to triple. I said, I don't think there is a better week you can triple captain Haaland.
No, there isn't.
Ipswich at home. The only reason.
Sorry, I'm cutting you
said
off.
The only
Sorry,
reason I wasn't doing it was because it was too early. It was too early.
Guys, I don't want your suggestions of content creators that have got a better rank than Dean if they've used a chip. Adam from above average FPL used triple captain this week. Next.
And that's the thing. Imagine if I'd done it. Imagine if I had done it. I said, if it wasn't game week 2, I would definitely be doing it on a single game week. And Ipswich I'll be taking. I was like, but I'm not. And the only reason is because it's game week 2. And that's really a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying. But I still got 84 points without it. So whenever that time comes that Haaland does get the triple captaincy, hopefully I can still get up a decent number.
We're going to have to put our ranks on screen throughout because that's what all content creators do, and we only don't because we're not always having the best of seasons. But I think maybe we might hit a change here, mate. We'll replace your handle.
People care about it so much, and I honestly have
it's
never.
Ridiculous. It's so
people
ridiculous.
Care about it a lot, and I get it. I mean, I guess that I've always played it to win my mini leagues, obviously.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all that really matters. That I beat my mates, and at the moment, top of most of mini leagues. But there's people in my mini league that the guy who's second in my main mates mini league, and he's 5 points behind me. He does not watch football. He does not. He will barely have watched a single game so far, and this week he scored 88 points. So at this stage, as much as I'd like to give myself a pat on the back and some credit, it's all absolute nonsense because you can just have luck with your pick early on, and it's only once you stay engaged to it, and which is often my big problem. I don't stay engaged enough. Obviously, that's changed a bit over the last 2 years when we've been doing this show, and I have to be tuned into it. But I've missed deadlines or whatever it might be. Yeah, at the moment, I'm not giving myself too much credit. But as I say, like CH says, love it doing his own thing and having fun and being rewarded. That is honestly the thing that I've liked the most about little picks that I've got in my team. That like the Salah and Haaland thing. I was like, why would I not? They're the best 2 players in the league.
Yeah. Everyone that's wildcarding now will be wildcarding them both in.
Of course. I saw that stat. I don't know if you saw the stat about Mo Salah at Anfield. He's played 128 Premier League games at Anfield, and he's got 128 goal contributions.
Nice.
That's like build a statue, build an FPL statue, because that kind of consistency doesn't exist beyond him and Haaland.
Guys, you're dictating the agenda today. We can't get through all 20 teams. We only want to do probably 15 minutes of chat about the weekend. Then we'll get into our teams. We'll show you big man's teams. We want to answer your questions more importantly. So dictate the agenda. We're going to spend a couple of minutes on loads of the big teams. Who do you want us to chat about first? Who are the big team for you in terms of FPL contributions this week? I mean, mine are Liverpool, to be fair, but it looks like you're voting Chelsea to go to first. So look, let's do that. We'll go Chelsea, then Liverpool in that order. Stay tuned. A couple of minutes on Chelsea, and then Nkunku needs to be the big one. We'll do a poll. If you own Nkunku, have you already sold him? And we'll give an option of yes, no, and I don't. I never owned Nkunku. I never owned Nkunku. Let's see, because I think a lot of the sellers, Dean, have already sold him because they saw he was falling in price. Yeah. They see him as a write-off now because he's had his chance. How do you see it? Because I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's not in our best 11 just because he missed a Wolves game. No, I've held him.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to come back into the team. And there's, as like I said about Isak, there's no way that Nkunku goes through the season without any returns. But this is the reason I would never have considered him, because I knew it was too risky in terms of what this Chelsea team was going to look like early on. Madueke getting a hat-trick. Like a week ago, Newcastle were like asking Chelsea if they could buy Madueke. Like that's where we were at. And then suddenly, in the space of a week, he's now like almost a must-own. He's not for me, but
he dropped in price, Madueke, and then he's already gone up. He's dropped and gone up in 2 game weeks.
Yeah, hilarious. But this is the problem with Chelsea, and I said it. Obviously, I batter Chelsea all the time, but one thing that I said was they'll still be frail at the back, but they're going to score loads of goals because they've got too many top players up there that they're not going to, and it'll be fascinating to see how it all unfolds and what sort of score lines we get. But a 6-2 away from home is pretty wild. I still think Palmer is the only one, mate.
He's the best player in the league, isn't he? Cole Palmer.
He's the best pick out of them. And when I look at my team,
best English player in the league.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So I've got Saka at my 10 million mark, and I'm thinking,
in terms of ceiling, he feels higher than Saka in an individual game because the spread of points at Arsenal, but the spread of points at Chelsea, it does feel like everything will always go through Palmer, especially when he plays here, when he plays number 10. And if Madueke earns his spot, then we're not going to see Palmer on the right. Thank God, because we don't want to. Not on Maresca ball. Palmer on the right is fine. He played there mostly last season, but cutting in, Maresca ball is wingers on the touchline. And that's not Cole Palmer.
And he's not going to be at risk in this team. Cole Palmer's always going to play. Yeah. There's no way he's going to be left out. So someone who's on set pieces, for somebody that's pulling the strings or scoring the goals, he's just brilliant. He really is. I said it on Ranks this morning that I was watching a period of the Wolves game, what Palmer was doing. And I was like, there's no way Real Madrid or Barcelona don't try and sign this bloke within 2 years. Like, there's no way, because he's so well suited to go and smash it in La Liga. Like, if you got him at Real Madrid, I don't know where he'd fit in these days at Real Madrid, to be fair, given the amount of players.
Move Jude further back, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but Arda Güler, they've got all these sorts of players. But like, he would be so good there as well.
Man City could buy him.
City must be like, we really, we don't often drop the ball, but we've really kind of dropped the ball
royally
because he's so perfect for them as well, and his little slide rule passes and stuff. So yeah, there is a bit of a conundrum in my head. As I say, I think I'm going to ditch Minte, and if I do that, I'm probably going to bring in Morgan Rogers. But part of me is like, Saka to Palmer does seem like something I should probably be doing.
Rodgers goes up in price tonight, by the way. There are a lot
Does
of
it?
forecast prices. I mean, he is only 5 in the first place, but forecast go up tonight. Rodgers, Fass, Visser, and Rico Lewis from Man City, who hit the bar. Guys, that's good on Chelsea chat. Thank you for your contributions as well. It looks like from those that own Nkunku or did own him at the start of the game week, the vast majority have already sold him. Only 11% haven't sold Nkunku from those in the chat. 35% have and 50% didn't own him. I was one of those 11%. I mean, I am going to be selling him. I'm under no false illusions that I'm not saying he's a great pick. Am I happy to bench him versus Palace? Yeah. Have I got other fires to put out? Yeah. Liverpool, we've touched on Salah. It's always fun when we disagree. And I think we do disagree over Trent. So let's discuss Trent, because I would go so far as to say he is, I don't know, a top 5 best value player in the game from what I've seen so far. I think he's going to get so many goals and assists for sure. He's not had one yet. He's not had a goal contribution, but he's had 75-ish minutes twice. If he stays on the pitch a couple more minutes on Sunday, and if he stays on the pitch another 15, 20 minutes, because he came off at 74 or whatever it was, he probably ends up on 2, maybe even 3 bonus, or not maybe, 3, 2, because he was just shy of the bonus. And that's without a goal contribution. As soon as he assists or scores, he'll be in 3 bonus in those games. And he's getting clean sheets now. Liverpool are going to keep clean sheets under Arne Slot. It's super exciting to own Trent at the moment.
Is it more exciting than owning Salah?
No, but it's better value than Salah.
Is it? That's what I was trying to work out. I mean, our producer has actually got Salah and Trent in his team as well as Haaland, and I've barely seen anyone else do that, and he reaped the rewards this week for sure. But I haven't seen many people manage to do that, and I've kind of got Salah, and as a result of that, I can't even consider Trent because it just leaves me so short on what else I can do.
Yeah,
but I think I would rather have Salah at 12.5, and knowing that his output is going to be huge across this season, and he's barely going to miss a minute. Okay, he got bought off right at the end, but Salah's not getting pulled, and he's getting quite central. I was actually surprised he didn't end up scoring twice at the weekend. And Trent, look, his performances are absolutely top notch. Don't get me wrong. But then he has that sulk when he comes off. He's got to understand that Slot's about a certain element of control, and that once games are won, he's probably going to take him out because he's going to look for something else from his team. He's obviously still a good pick and one of the best players in the game. I just don't know that for that. What is he? Is he still 7? Has he got up at all?
No, I think he's 7. He was 8.5 last year. He started the season.
Yeah, so I mean, he's obviously better value now than them. But
guys, we might redo our poll because Salah is definitely higher in value, and I think that's why you're voting Salah. But we'll redo it. We'll just reword it slightly. Which player offers better value? Trent as a 7 million option, or Salah as they're both good value, clearly. But yeah, which one? I think it might be more of a 50-50 than the original poll. So we'll do that again.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with Salah. He's 12.5 million, but he's already brought in 24 points. And he's got a 10 and a 14. And I don't feel that Liverpool are even properly up and running yet. They're still adjusting to Slot. There's just so much more control, as I say, over these Liverpool performances now. And I like how Salah's playing as part of it. I feel like his experience is really key to it. And I feel like a lot of players are going to suffer rotation. I don't think that Salah's going to be part of that. I mean, they're going in for Chiesa now. Fabrizio's just put in that they're going for Chiesa. I don't know why they would they need a centre back or a centre midfielder. They don't need a Chiesa. They should have signed 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. I mean, wrong. Chiesa actually fits it as a Salah replacement. Chiesa, fine.
Yeah.
But Salah's there all season. I don't know why they need Chiesa. But that then adds further doubt to Jota and Gakpo and whoever else up there. So does Darwin Núñez have to leave? What are they doing? What are they going to do? How do they fit all those players into a lineup? The one thing I know is it ain't going to affect Salah. He's going to be week in, week out.
At the moment, there's 4 good players for 2 spots. If you exclude Salah from that front 3, so what you want to make it 5 good players for 2 slots? That's pushing it.
Seems it to me, and he's already got a few selection headaches, hasn't he, Arne Slot? But he's a good coach. I like him a lot. I like how he's.
Yeah, me too.
I like how he's knows in his head what he wants. He's not gonna change his mind. It's a very different vibe about the way that they play, and it's slower and calmer. I still think Szoboszlai is going to be good this season.
And he's not had a goal contribution yet either, but they are coming. I think 6.5 for Szoboszlai, because he's going to be a 90-minute man, as we've seen. Even Salah will get some early subs, because that's what he does with his front three. Jota comes off at 70 every time. That's fine too. Szoboszlai is going to be a 90-minute man, heartbeat of the team. As an number 10 at 6.5 million, I like that shout.
I do. And I think that it's worth looking at Liverpool's fixtures and potentially trying to get on board that one quite early before everybody starts jumping on it, because that you talk about Trent being good value at 7, and this is also very, very much going to be the case, I think, with Szoboszlai. Flagged him up when he first came in as a top player. But yeah, I'm just trying to see what ownership, 2.6% ownership at the moment, Szoboszlai. But after the Man United game at the weekend, which I'm not saying is a particularly difficult fixture given the way two teams are playing right now, but after that, Forest at home, Bournemouth at home, Wolves away, Palace away, Chelsea at home. Like that run of 5 games for Liverpool, like you need more than one Liverpool player in.
You need 3. I think you need the triple up in game week 4, which is my big dilemma. We'll see my team in a minute, but at the moment I've got 2. I did have 3 with Kwanzaa, and I'm like, do I chase a Robertson and go double defense? Because I think Robbo's going to be a good asset too. He's sharing set pieces with Trent. Do I somehow stretch myself to get a Salah in? Or do I just go, that's rip up my team for either of these 2 things? I could do with those 2 other guys. Just Szoboszlai, like 6.5, like, and have a, not a sexy, but going to get some points. I'd like to see him on some set pieces, like it is all Trent and Robbo. And I did think if Szoboszlai gets set pieces at 6.5, he's even better, and he's not got them. But I guess we'll watch this space. And a few in the chat are saying, what about Diaz? Of course, we think he's great too. And you can only have 3 of them. I guess we rank the others higher, but Diaz, at some point, you think Gakpo's going to get opportunities on the left. Darwin could get some game time on the left, although it looks like it will be as the 9 when he does feature. But Diaz, you could argue, is in one of the most competitive spots on the pitch on that left-hand side.
Yeah. The other thing I think that's worth considering, I mean, just to talk about the Villa-Arsenal game for a second. Now, I'd flagged up on Friday. I was like, I don't fancy Arsenal in this game, because I think if Thomas Partey plays, then their midfield gets overrun. He's not mobile enough to deal with it, and they could get exposed. And they did, and Villa just didn't take their chances, obviously, and Raya makes a great save. Like, they were good. Morgan Rogers was running through them with will at times.
He's amazing.
He's great, mate. Fair play to Arsenal. They managed to ride the wave. They got the result. And that's what champions do, right? So full credit to Arsenal for that. Thomas Partey, for me saying he shouldn't be playing, he even got a goal. So great. That's good. But the one thing you're looking at Arsenal is this defensive resilience and how they're really celebrating clean sheets, and it's meaning so much to them. And they've got such depth there. Mm-hmm. Now, David Raya, obviously, he's not a cheap goalkeeper in this game, but he's a really good one. And, he saved me last season once I got him in for the last 10 weeks or whatever. And I considered him strongly at the start of the season. In the end, I went for Pope just because he was that tad cheaper. But I tell you what, I'm probably going to end up going back to him because they ain't going to concede many goals.
Take a bow, all those that went Raya. I think we're already... And we're going into game week 3 where Arsenal got a good home fixture where clean sheet is very possible again. Like, so worth the extra spend. It's shown us already this season. He's doing well in the bonus points too.
This is it. People looked at Henderson as like,
I've got Henderson on 2 1-pointers.
He's rubbish.
Spend the extra million.
It's turned out to be a rubbish pick because Palace haven't got their heads together.
Yeah, and they've sold their centre back and might sell another.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. Like, I totally understand the theory coming into the season, but it's not like that. And people need to jump off of Henderson like now.
Yeah. If you've got that luxury, find the money and get Raya in. Like that will be my plan. If I was wildcarding tomorrow, Raya would be straight in. Ice G is on Raya. Ice G, I think your rank is better than Dean's. I think you mentioned it earlier, so fair play. Mark says Raya was just a cheap way into an Arsenal defence. What's interesting is the way the bonus point system now works against the centre-backs, Gabriel and Saliba, which actually leaves a little bit more bonus for Raya, as we've seen in the first few weeks, which is interesting. So attacking players is getting more bonus points, which means the centre-backs aren't. But when the centre-backs aren't and they keep a clean sheet, it gives Raya the opportunity to be bumped up a little bit. And obviously he's been making saves too.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting one there. What do you make, Dean, just quickly before we see our teams? And guys, please do hit those buttons. There's over 350 of you watching. Loads of you are lurkers. If you want to come and say hello in the chat, our chat isn't subscriber only. Anyone can just put a comment in there. But if you fancy subscribing, then please do. What do you make of Man City? Because Haaland is in all of our teams pretty much. And with that, you don't really get rewarded when Haaland or Man City win because everyone has him as captain. So to really benefit from Man City scoring 4 goals a game, if we think they're going to do that, you need a second asset. Now, De Bruyne is 9.5. Foden's going to be in the picture soon, again, 9.5. Savinho moves like Mahrez. Is he going to stay in this team? Because he's on some of the set pieces and he's 6.5 million.
Yeah, he's the go-to guy on the right. Like that's how it's going to play out now. As soon as Oscar Bob got that injury, Savio took his spot and he hasn't looked back. He looks good. And I think actually he's becoming a really good asset in that team. I mean, I'm pleased that I got Rico Lewis before the season began.
Well
that
played. Looks
like one that's paying off. And I tell you what, if they persist with him, and I hope they do, I hope Kyle Walker doesn't come back in. He's one of the best players in this team in terms of the way it functions. And he's getting into that box a lot.
More box touches than Haaland at the weekend.
Mate, he's going to get goals.
More penalty area touches than Haaland.
His positioning is unreal. The way that he's playing this role is unbelievable.
Yeah,
he's such a good footballer, Rico Lewis. And so I'm happy with it. Someone just asking Sally, is Rico Lewis nailed game week 3? Obviously, West Ham away from Man City. I think he is for now, yeah. There's no sign yet that he's going to lose his spot to Kyle Walker. I don't think he should. But Kyle Walker's not going to really settle for a season on the bench. Yeah. He's got offers from Saudi Arabia. If that was the case, maybe he would be taking that right now. Unless I said Walker is the Man City captain. Yeah, but what can they do? Like, Rico Lewis is playing so well in this role.
He can't play anywhere else, really. That is his position, sort of, isn't it?
This is where he's
can't squeeze them both in, because if Walker plays there, it's like then Guardiola pushes forward and then you don't have space for a Rico.
Yeah, I'm concerned about when he does lose his spot, because it's probably going to come out of the blue and I'm probably going to have him in my team and he's
a Champions League soon.
Get like 1 point that week or whatever. And so it's going to become more of a dilemma. But for now, I think I'm delighted to have him and Haaland. And if I was to get one more in, it would be Savio at the moment. I think that he's the one that is going to be the most regular in terms of getting minutes over the coming weeks.
Is Foden going to be an issue for Savio, knowing Gundogan's now back and we could see Gundo and De Bruyne playing in the same game central? And then does that mean Foden has to play out wide? He can play on the left and he's better than Doku and he's better than Grealish, but he could also play on the right and he's better than Savio. Because I need you to talk me out of Savio. I need you to convince me to buy Savio, because I'm talking myself out of it. But I know the fact he's on some of the set pieces. I don't know much about him, Dean. Like,
I don't really either, to be honest, mate. Like I said a bit of him last season alone, but I didn't see enough to suspect that he was going to be this influential and would fit in this nicely into the way that City would play. Mahrez himself is even like tweeting about it or whatever, about comparisons. So we know that Pep wanted somebody like this. And I think that he's just waiting for that output to come at the moment with Savio. Yeah. And I think it's going to. And he's certainly more tempting right now than like a Doku or Grealish, certainly. And Foden's too expensive to go for, knowing you don't know when he's coming in. And De Bruyne, I don't think he'll stay in he's going to be rested because they've got the Champions League coming up. They've got
That's the problem.
They've got to stop him from getting in the red zone this season. They've got to limit his minutes to make sure they get a full season out of him at the right times. And that's going to be the most difficult thing.
That's what
Gundo, I think, will play. Yeah, Gundo, I think, will end up playing deeper a lot of the time. I think that rotation will end up with being like Kovacic type role for him. Kovacic, by the way, is playing brilliantly. Like he's great.
Player of the match game week 1.
Yeah, they absolutely obliterated Ipswich in that like 5-6 minute spell. It was bordering on illegal what they were doing to him. Like it was like Smodic just like he made a massive mistake by scoring that goal. He tried his best to miss, but it's gone in, and it was the worst thing it turned out that could have happened. So it's strange, but City just absolutely unbelievable. And Haaland, for a player that people are like, 15 million, don't think I'll go there, mate. The second goal
15.1 now. It's gone up.
The second goal, the way that he took it, I think it was the second one. Yeah, it's just extraordinary. He's just unbelievable. So we're back to where we used to be, mate. Salah, Haaland, Saka, Palmer, same old.
It's great that you can't have them all, but I like the fact that all those guys you've just mentioned have all delivered big points so far, and they've only had 2 games. Like that.
It's about sticking to your guns, though. You can't jump player to player to player. You've got to stick.
You only get one transfer a week, so you just can't. I mean, you can shuffle around your premiums, but you have to pick good fixture stretches. It can't be every game moving between them. You can do 5 on Palmer and then 4 on Saka or whatever. But yeah, you're going to have other 5s to put out, so you can't just hop between them as easily as people perhaps would like to.
Yeah,
but then there's always that fear selling these players, because I could sell a Son and buy and somehow accommodate Salah next game week or week after, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're selling a Son or a Palmer or a Saka, even when the fixtures are bad, these guys score in the big games. They're not just bullies. They score. This isn't Raheem Sterling who only scores against newly promoted teams. These are players that will score in the big games. Maybe Haaland doesn't. His record might not be as good, sure, but some of them have. Son's record in big games is as good as it is against weak teams. So it's really, really tricky. And let's talk about Son, because Spurs they look good. Everton are bad, sure, but they look really good first half against Leicester. They haven't really been tested. But that Spurs Newcastle game week 3, I think it's going to be end to end. You score 2, we score 3 type approach from both teams. And if you've got Isak, I think you could expect chances galore against that Spurs high line. But likewise, if you're on a Son and he's playing number 9 against a Newcastle backline that's looked dreadful, quite frankly, in the first 2 weeks, I mean, I don't know if Solanke's going to be back. I don't think he is, because Postecoglou mentioned the international break. So, Son's dangerous again this week, isn't he? As is Newcastle attackers.
Yeah, I mean, Solanke owners must be gutted that
I've still got him.
This game. That game would have been like perfect for him. He'd have got a couple. So that's pretty devastating for him and people who have picked him. But Sonny's obviously steps up, and he's obviously a massive helping hand, almost quite literally by Pickford just giving him a goal. And Everton have been terrible they played well for the first 20 minutes of the season, and they haven't played well since. So they are the most out of form team in the division, I'd say. They're dreadful. So while you're saying, look at Tottenham and look what they could do against Newcastle, I'm also kind of every week like, okay, who are Everton playing? And maybe we get on them. And honestly, I think Evan Nielsen for Bournemouth this week isn't a bad shout at all. I think if you're looking that third forward spot, I'll stick with Calvin Lewis for this game, as I say, just because I always plan to. And it's Bournemouth, so he could still score. But if I was going to flip him onto someone, I'd be tempted to go Evan Nielsen for sure.
100%. Mate, 6 million, and he's going to be the same player Solanke was last year. Now, Solanke came in at 7.5 million because Bournemouth produce a ton of chances for their number 9. And if he gets the same minutes as Solanke, and he has penalties like Solanke, which we think he will, then he might match Solanke's output if we think he's as good a finisher as Solanke, and I think he probably is. So 6 million for the Bournemouth number 9. Guys, honestly, that is a top. You won't hear content creators talking about Evan Nielsen. Listen to Dean on this one. He's worth a look.
Yeah, and he's trying to get him behind. I liked the way that he played against Newcastle. Someone just said about giving Semenyo a shout out. Yeah, British. Semenyo too. He ended up getting a couple of bonus points actually from the Newcastle game, Semenyo. So he looked good. I mean, Bournemouth generally, I thought they played quite well against Newcastle. Probably consider themselves unlucky, but considering that they've got Everton next. Everton, I think they gave 2 Premier League debuts at the weekend because they're so short on numbers at the back at the moment. That even the experienced Tarkowski and Pickford have lost their heads. Calvert-Lewin hasn't scored a goal yet. It's obviously a new midfield that they're coming to terms with. Players' heads are dropping very quickly. It's really, really bad time for Everton. They haven't really got a lot of money to try and fix things. Calvert-Lewin might even end up leaving. There are only a few like players of any pedigree, and I know that there's 2 Premier League clubs at the moment who are considering last-minute bids for him.
Oh god, it's not us, is it?
It's not you. It wouldn't surprise me though. Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, Everton, Paddy Power have already paid out on Everton going down.
What?
Yeah,
This is the
I
thing.
mean, it's good PR, but you know.
Yeah, they won't. They probably won't. They probably won't.
Sean Dyche will Sean Dyche. He always keeps them up.
They'll figure it out, and they've got enough decent players that they'll probably get through. And part of the reason of me sticking with Calvert-Lewin for this game week is like we've only seen 2 games of the season.
Yeah.
It's not that much of a stretch that Evans suddenly go and win 2-0 at home. Calvert-Lewin scores. Like, of course that can happen. We're only 2 games into the season, and across the season, you will still get performers in bad teams, people that will consistently churn out points, but it's just finding them and having the faith in them to continue that. So, difficult one, but yeah, Everton are rubbish. Leicester are pretty rubbish. They weren't very good against Fulham. I mean, we've only beaten them 2-1 in the end, but they should be better than they are, I think, because they've put together a half decent side for this season. But I'll tell you what, Aston Villa going to Leicester, they could absolutely tear them apart. And that's one of the reasons why Morgan Rogers, I think, is an even better pick for this week.
And a lot are going, the reason Isak will be mass sold, yes, but a lot, even though he's been blanking, we'll look at Ollie Watkins. Guys, we've got to see our teams.
Oh, yeah.
Got to see our teams. We've got Big Man's team to get through. I can't believe we're 40 minutes in.
Is Big Man still playing?
He's had a rotten start. I
had to.
You know what? He's been completely mugged off with Bruno as well. Like Bruno is massive. I think he might have Eze as well. Let's do Big Man's team first, shall we? Or whoever's. But I think he might have Eze and Bruno, who are arguably 2 of the biggest point dodgers so far. Although, look, we've all got players that should have scored goals that haven't. I've got Morgan Rogers. Should have had loads of assists by now. FPL Chai gives us the laughing face. Chai, we need some of Chai in our lives as well. We'd love to have you on in the not too distant, mate. Do check out FPL Chai if you're not already subscribed to his channel, by the way. He's making pre-recorded videos now. I saw one earlier today. But yeah, Big Man, it was do you know why Big Man's not having a great start? And we can say this because he's not here. There's just not been many penalties in game 1 and 2, is there? Not been many pens. In fact, I don't think there's been any pens. So, you know, poor Eze and Bruno can't get their 3 points.
I mean, Eze has been unlucky with Eze. Could easily have had a goal both weeks for sure. Bruno, game week 1, could have too. So it's fine margins at this stage, but then it's showing the durability to stick with those players. I saw Big Man tweeting today that he's sticking with Bruno. I think he was talking about. Yeah, he was saying that United play Southampton in game week 4, and that's a predicted haul. I'm not so convinced Man United in an early kickoff on a Saturday going to Southampton is that good a predicted haul for Bruno Fernandes, to be honest with you, given the way that United have been the start of the season. I think it's possibly more likely that Southampton sniff out the chance of an upset, but I can understand why he might have the optimism. So yeah, it's difficult when you'll be in that situation. I asked him the other day, I was like, it must be so hard when you are a content creator and you are giving advice to people and they're like, but you only didn't get many points. And it's like, yeah, but I was close to it. And over the course of the season, I will. And that's the thing. Like, Big Man's methods are going to pay off over the course of the season. Of course
they are. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Mine probably won't, because it's just like what I love doing eye tests, and that's how I'm going to play it all season now. But I understand that, large success in this game comes from statistical analysis and XG and all the rest of it. And
it's boring, isn't
it? I do find it boring, mate. Like,
I do.
Honestly, I think getting AI to predict how many points you're going to get is cheating.
Mate,
like, I honestly see that as cheating.
I've still not taken a penny to promote an AI game. I'm not going to say never, because money's quite important.
I just don't like.
But the day you see me promoting AI teams, then honestly, guys, I'll turn a lot of you off.
If that's what you want to do, and that's what you're going to do. But I certainly wouldn't get any satisfaction out of it in the same way at all.
No.
But I've seen more and more people go down the AI route.
Let's do a poll on AI. Do you use AI to predict your team? Yes or no? Or would you like to? I don't know.
Yeah. Mark says it isn't cheating; it's sabotaging your own chances. 0. It's just boring. Like Rick said, it's boring. Like I don't.
We're on the wrong
I
channel
love
though.
football for the emotion and for the. I love watching football. Like that's why I do this. Like that's why I've always worked in football, because I couldn't be a footballer. I tried. Got released at 16 and I was like, okay, I'm a good journalist. I'll just start writing about football, and it worked out. And then FPL came along and started doing that and ended up here. But I
love the chasers. I'm loving these comments because this channel is
everyone's
all about
hating the AI.
But it's the channel. I mean, of course it is. And guys, we love this channel and we love our chasers. And you two, you lot are two of our own. Like, you all think probably you like people talking about football, which is why you watch me and Dean. But if we were on a different FPL YouTube channel, or loads of them, and we did this poll, loads would be going, what, they don't know what they're talking about. AI would improve their game. They can still do eye tests, but they need to do more stats, and they need to do that, and they'd be better FPL managers, and they'd probably have a point too. But we know our core chasers, and you lot, you're with us.
Yeah. So I only spotted this because I'm in the league that Holly set up for like people that are on channels and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And on there, after the first weekend of games, there is an AI team from Fantasy Football Hub, right? So that was at like top of the league after the first set of games was AI team Fantasy Football Hub.
Wow, top
and
of the
I was
league.
like, oh my god, it's actually top. Like it's literally top.
Yeah, and I think that team had a 10k last year. That team
did it well this week. I just had a look, see how the AI team got on this week. They got 55 points. It didn't have Haaland in it.
Oh, interesting.
Why
would Ipswich at home?
Why would it not have Haaland in it?
Stupid bloody computers.
I look at it. I'm like, is this real? Is this really what the AI suggested? Because if AI is genuinely predicting that your front three for last weekend should have been Muniz, Havertz, and Isak, then that's just wrong.
But it only gets one transfer a week, or is that just literally like a free hit?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to. Maybe we get someone on here who knows how it works better than I do or you do. But yeah, 55 points obviously shows that AI doesn't know everything.
Ice G says, "What happened to the Chaser team this season?"
Blimey, that's even worse than the AI team, I think.
That is a lot worse than the AI team. Tell you that for free. Let's move on from Big Man's team, who, by the way, I may have, we're joking that he's had a bad start. Just throwing it out there, I'm only 7 points better off than Big Man. That's a clean sheet and a couple of bonus. Like we both had a tricky start. But this is your team, Dean. Let's see some. We need to start plastering your rank. 300k. But yeah, I mean, to be fair,
right. Yeah, obviously.
I like Minter. Yeah, why would you want to sell Minter though? Talk to me about Minter because
I don't trust.
Minutes. Adingra will come on every now and then, but they've got a hard fixture this week.
Adingra's going to get more minutes than what he's been getting.
They're at home against Ipswich and at home against Forest in 4 and 5. That's Minter Halls, mate.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Arsenal away obviously doesn't fill me with hope. I mean, the thing is with him is he's done well. Like even when I've watched him, like I'm like, yeah, he's playing really well. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. He got 2 points against Man United and he got 4 against Everton. So he's got 6 points so far. Yeah. Obviously, he got an injury in the first week, so like that's a bit hard to judge him on. He played most of this game, and they take him off. Both weeks, Adingra has made a massive impact.
Yeah,
like
got the assist, didn't he? Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. Now Brighton have gone and signed Matt O'Reilly, who isn't a winger, but he is attacking midfielder who sits in that right side. Matt O'Reilly. So I'm not sure how that changes things.
Is Adingra going to stay? Is Adingra stay? Because weren't he linked with the Zerbi's Marseille?
He's been linked with a few people. Yeah, I mean, he was linked with Arsenal as well. I mean, I don't think there was anything in it. Oh. But yeah, he was linked with them. I've got one transfer, Bozzy, for this week. And yeah, so maybe I stick with it. To be honest, I mean, I could quite easily stick with my team and just let it roll on for another week, and it probably won't upset me too much. I just think, well, I could have Morgan Rogers. Yeah, playing Leicester away.
Morgan Rogers is a great buy this week.
And I think that Rogers for this week is good. And then I could always get Minter back the next week, to be honest. Like I could get him back for the next week when things look better for Brighton rather than going to Arsenal away. So that
Rogers does improve that 11. I'm with you there. Just for the next run of fixtures, Villa, and you're not going to get a Watkins, so having that Villa attack covered.
Yeah. Gibbs White did well, obviously. Like that's nice points, and that's one of my few differentials in here that's paid off so far in this game week. And actually, like I was looking, there was one point at the weekend where Salah hadn't scored yet. Still hadn't played yet. Sorry, Gibbs White hadn't scored yet, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not looking actually that good here." And then suddenly, just 2 goals,
and then you get the assist.
Changes your outlook on the week, doesn't it? Like that's how early we are. So, as I say, I'd love to sit here. Good. Robinson, I've had to come away from my thing of not picking Fulham.
Did you buy
players.
him this game? Was he your transfer, or did you start?
Transfer in.
Yeah, so he was both our transfers in. So I mean,
because I got rid of Kwanzaa early.
Right, so we both made that move early to beat the price drop. I mean, he didn't keep a clean. You see 7 and you think clean sheet and a bonus point. No, this is an assist and 2 bonus. Like this is good. Like Fulham didn't even keep a clean, which they easily could have, by the way. Yeah. And then it's double digits. Like Robinson's really good, and that cross for the Muniz header I thought was amazing. Like it was nearly another assist there, wasn't it? The Muniz header just went past the post.
Yeah, I mean the way he's playing, to be honest, Fulham ain't going to keep hold of him much longer. But
yeah,
Ipswich away next, which as a fan I'm slightly fearful of because I think Ipswich actually. I think Ipswich are actually doing all right. Like let's not forget the fixtures that Ipswich have actually had so far. Like they've had Liverpool, and then they've had Man City.
And that first 45 against Liverpool, they matched them. It's in XG. They were actually
and then they've gone 1-0 up against Man City. So like
they start fast.
They haven't done too bad for a team that's just come up. Kieran McKenna's a smart manager. They've actually put together a decent side. Fulham have played well, but we're not pulling up trees. It's very Fulhamish, as I would say, to go and give Ipswich their first win back in the Premier League.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit sceptical, but I'm obviously going to keep him in for now because there's a good chance that he could get another assist. Anyway, then Fulham have got West Ham at home, Newcastle at home. So back-to-back home fixtures before going to Forest away. So it's a nice little run of games for Anthony Robinson, and I think he'll remain in there. As I say, the one that I really want pick up on is Alex Isak from this lot. And I'm hoping that as people jump off, that starts to look a bit more like a differential compared to where it was. Adam asking, does Raul come in for Muniz? No, I can't see it. I can't see that he would be starting anytime soon, Raul. That they've mainly got him in mind as a backup option to Muniz. They've got full faith in Muniz, and I think he'll continue to lead the line. So yeah, that's where we're at, mate. Should we look at your team before we log off?
Oh, come on then. I've had a green arrow. Oh, it's such a rotten start to the season as well. So yeah, it was nice to have a green. You know, the big thing for me all season, and those that watch me on my channel will know this, like I was a bit scared about, I never considered Saka. I think Saka's a great option, but he was just never in my thinking pre-season. And I saw that every single content creator had Saka, and I was a little bit like, I'm not going to just pick him because, I've never done that. It's just not how I manage. Like, yes, I have at times template teams, but I would never just go, I need to have it because I'd look really rubbish if I didn't. Like, what am I missing here? And I just fancied Son. And then game week 1 comes around and Saka gets 12 and Son 2. And it's like, oh, Gianni's doing the same old things again. And it's like, no, I feel vindicated now. Like, they're matching. They're both 18 points. Saka's good. He was good again on the weekend. And Son got a couple of goals, and yeah, they're about the same. And I'm glad I've got a differential in Son. And let's see what game week 3 happens. But yeah, I'm not going to lose sleep over that one. Obviously, not having Arsenal and not having an Arsenal defender is probably the bigger hiccup here. Raya, for example, is so obvious if you can find the extra million. Punter's asking keep or sell. Isak, keep for me. I have fires, guys. I've got a lot of fires to put out here. Lewis Hall might not be a starter, although I expect him to maybe come back in because they were poor without him. And Kunku, again, we don't know if he's a starter. There's a fire there. Solanke, still injured. And Barco. Like, those 4 players, even Johnson of Ipswich isn't nailed. So, like...
Did you consider taking a hit on Solanke, or were you like, no?
No, I just didn't. I was just with Solanke. I was like, because I had Rodgers as my 8th attacker, I was like, no, I'm happy to play it because I just seen how good Rodgers was pre-season. Was just you know, if Solanke misses game week 4 and 5, that's fine too. Or 3 and 4, sorry, that's fine too because it just means I play Rodgers. So I guess that was it. Fortunate in a way that I don't have that 4.5 midfielder of Harry Winks. I have that that eighth attacker's been really important for my transfer strategy, I guess. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to hold Solanke till he's back fit because I know in a Spurs team he's going to be very good when he's back fit. And if I have to wait a couple of weeks, I have to wait a couple of weeks. Son, though, is on borrowed time because as soon as Solanke's back and Son's wide, I don't think I want him in my team. I want Son when he's playing down the middle, and I think he probably does again game week 3.
How are you going to feel about not having Salah or an Arsenal defender? Because that feels like those are two pretty big things across the course of a season.
Yeah, I think I might end up going Son to Salah in game week 4.
Really,
because so Son's got an all right fixture this week. I think Newcastle away, the way they've been defending, is actually a fine fixture for Spurs. And knowing I'm keeping Solanke, I'm happy downgrading one of us, getting rid of a Spurs asset. And in game week 4, Son has Arsenal at home, and we just know how good Arsenal are the best defence in the league. Like that feels like a good week to sell Son. Game week 4, whether Solanke's back or not, and Salah has Brentford at home, so I could go Son to Salah. And yes, that means I've got to find 2.5 million from somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't quite know where I'd do that. And Kunku sure can have a downgrade, but unfortunately, now when Kunku's dropped in price, finding 2.5 million is going to be almost impossible because there's no 4 million midfielders. So it would need an Nkunku downgrade and someone else. I might, though, just sack off the Salah idea and just go a third Liverpool player, find space for a Robertson, or as we spoke about earlier, I do think we're sleeping on Szoboszlai. I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah, Szoboszlai is going to bang at some point, and if you're on him when it happens, then you're going to get big rewards. That's absolutely true. Yeah, I mean, we're early days, people. I'd love to sit here gloating, and I've thought about wearing a crown. I've thought about holding up a sign saying Dean is top of the league. I thought, no, it's game week 2. I better not be too smug because the chances are I'm going to have a big fall off a cliff at some point. But yeah, I've loved the start of the season. It's great to be back, isn't it? And like having all the games. I'll tell you what, watching out here in America, mate, is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, I mean, the downside, yes, I have to get up at 4:30 a.m. to watch the early game. Yeah. And it's I'm a bit bleary-eyed for like the first half of Brighton Man United, for example. Although I did cheer up to see it was torrential rain. But then you get to the 3 p.m. games, like the 7 a.m. as they are here, and you've got your choice of games on Peacock. So
stop it. I'm so jealous of that.
Pick your game, or you can watch this thing, Goal Rush, which is basically Red Zone for Premier League. And they just started on the Man City game, and then they start to bounce around. Like you have on like
they're in studio though, so it's like Sky Sports News Soccer Saturday, but
they just have the game on and then they just talking about they're just like commentating. They jump around. I didn't watch it for too long because I was watching Fulham, but like I watched it for a little bit at the start of the City game just to see how it worked out. But yeah, all of the games in America it's just so good. And Peacock, mate, for this channel, it's like an app basically that is on the TV. It's $7 a month. $7. So all that money you have to pay to get Sky Sports and not get any 3 p.m. kickoffs, you pay $7 a month and you basically get every single game. I think there's a couple. Brian says you get all the games seen here. I'm not sure, Brian, is that what happens with the games? Because there's like 1 or 2 games a weekend, it seems, that are on like USA or something. And it doesn't seem like they are on Peacock Live. I think you have to watch them on catch up. But honestly, like that is... And it also... when he's done at like 11 o'clock, straight to the pool. I had a daiquiri in hand at the pool by midday, mate, and celebrating Fulham's 2-1 win over Leicester. Johnny, yes, I am on the West Coast. I'm in San Diego. Yeah,
it's good times because you're right. Like we write off a lot of our weekends and certainly the afternoons and evenings because of football. But
it's hard
early in the morning,
to watch it all. It's hard, especially when you've got kids and stuff. Like so, once you're getting a bit older and you've got like a family and you've got other stuff to be doing and you can't just focus on watching as much football down the pub as you want. This is actually quite nice. I thought I wasn't going to like it, but so far I'm actually preferring it. On Sunday,
I remember World Cups, watching games in the morning is great. When there's a World Cup in, I don't know,
Japan, we had, didn't we, famously?
Japan, Korea. Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
There was the Japan one that was, I remember having a pint of, at the time, pint of Foster's and a bacon roll at 7 a.m. in the local pub or something. I remember being at like college or something.
Yeah.
So I remember doing that. But I haven't had a drink. I haven't had any alcohol yet for any of these games. But on Sunday, there's a list. There's a guy that listens to Ranks FC, and I've met with him before. He's a Liverpool fan. He doesn't live too far from me. I think we're going to the pub Sunday morning at 8:00 to watch Liverpool v Man United. So that'll be good. Neil Cheeseman says, "Can you access Peacock with a VPN from the UK?" I believe you might be able to.
We need to get a deal with Nord. NordVPN should be sponsoring Chasing Green Arrows. We need to sort that out because we have such an international. They sponsor quite a few FPL pods. So if you're watching Nord, then sort us out.
Give us a little deal.
Yeah, we've got over 500 of you watching, by the way. If you want to show support and you enjoy this sort of chat, and you don't like the AI bots and all that, well, you know what you're going to get from Chasing Green Arrows. Hit that subscribe button, will you? Yeah,
absolutely. Anything else, mate? Anything else that caught your eye?
No, I mean, big dilemmas this week. Like, if just go back to my team for 1 sec. I'll show you my potential transfers because I really don't know. Like, players that I might get rid of this week. Solanke's staying, as I mentioned. Son's staying. Gordon and Isak need to stay. So it's going to be an Nkunku transfer out, or a Lewis Hall transfer out, or a Barco transfer out. Yeah. And the reason I mentioned Barco is there's an Aston Villa right back, I can't pronounce his name, who is likely to come in unless they sign someone. And Matty Cash looks like he's done his hammy and could be out for like 3, 4, 5 games. And if that's the case, the right back, I don't think will be Konza playing there because Emery has said about using Konza as a centre back. The right back that came on is a 4 million option. Now, Villa have got very good potential clean sheet fixtures. And knowing I've got a Lewis Hall problem in my team as well, I think I probably need to strengthen. I don't really want to be playing Johnson at every game. So Barco I can't pronounce it, Sokan, Nedeljkovic. I think he's Serbian.
All right, I know you mean, yeah.
So it'll be him. It will be an Nkunku replacement or Hall replacement. But it matters. And the reason I couldn't go last night when I saw Nkunku was dropping in price was it needs to be centered around what I'm doing next week and if I'm going Salah or not. And I don't quite know the plan there. I could even sell Lewis Hall to the 4 million option, and then that allows me to go saying Nkunku to a Szoboszlai the week after, which is in my thoughts too. So let's see if any surprises come up in the transfer window too. I'm waiting late, and remember the transfer window closes before the game week 3 deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. That British is saying Lookman to Arsenal. This one was mentioned the other day. It kind of came out of the blue. Okay. The briefing on it was that that's not true and that's not going to happen. But actually, when it came out, I was like, that's actually not a bad option because Ademola Lookman could actually be versatile enough that he fits a few of those problems. But apparently, that's not going to be the case. We've got a super chat in to end the show. Thank you, Abby. Appreciate it. Nkunku to Morgan Gibbs-White, done. Thoughts? Jota, Bruno, Isak, bench one.
You can't bench Jota. Do not bench Jota.
No. I mean, if I had to bench one of those, it'd be Bruno, to be honest with you. Especially as he's playing in Liverpool. But it doesn't mean he won't score against Liverpool, obviously. I just don't fancy United to win at the moment, the way that they're playing. But Jota and Isak, for me, have a higher ceiling.
I'd probably bench Morgan Gibbs-White. I know he's at home and I know Forest have been good. And he's got Wolves, his old club. But I don't know. Yeah, it's a hard one, Abby. But I see why you've done Nkunku to Morgan Gibbs-White to beat the price drop. And I think he's a good buy, even if you do end up benching him. Guys, that is all we got time for. Thank you so much. We will be back on Wednesday. We're going to give Big Man the opportunity and the right to reply. So we're going to see him on Wednesday. Me and Dean will be back on Friday for what will feel like a deadline stream as well, guys, because I'm going to be locked in, I think, on my Friday team because... yeah, I'm doing that a lot this season. I'm locking in on the Friday, and then I don't have that morning panic on the Saturday, unless I'm doing a deadline stream on Saturday. But I've not been doing those. So because I've not been doing those, I've been locking in early. So I'm sure I'll be bringing you my team on Friday. Stay tuned for that. Dean will be bringing you his. We will be going live around lunchtime. And before that, we'll be doing a Wednesday lunchtime stream with Big Man as well. So guys, on the way out, if you're just tuning in, go back and watch the last hour. If you fancy hitting the buttons or commenting, do. The guys at Chasing Green Arrows are getting back to all your comments as well. Not in the chat, but in the actual comments to the video. So shout out to everyone that always watches on catch up as well. But for now, we'll say our goodbyes. Dean, enjoy your rest of your afternoon. Go get a strawberry daiquiri. You made me very jealous of the San Diego.
Yeah, I don't
lifestyle.
know if I'm drinking. It's not a bank holiday here. It's just a normal day. So I'll probably stay off the daiquiris. Someone just said, can Dean post transfer updates? If you want to follow the transfer stuff I do, it's over on Give Me Sport. They actually do a nice little page of transfer stuff that is pretty different, actually, from the takes you get elsewhere. So if you want to get on the Give Me Sport page, you'll see my stuff, but also some bits from my colleagues over there, and there's some nice bits and pieces of info that you'll be picking up from now to deadline day.
I like that. Yeah, Give Me Sports, bit of a chasing green arrows, like
It is a little bit
fan club,
underground,
which we like. It's got all your transfers stuff, and I didn't do one article a week, but there's an FPL article if you like written stuff as well. So yeah, do check Give Me Sport out, guys.
Yeah.
For now though, we'll say our goodbyes. We'll see you Wednesday. Bye bye.